Hello. So, in my 10-month carnivore update, I shared that our fourth child, our 10-year-old son, Elijah, was recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it was a pretty rough experience for us. I mean, going to the emergency room, ambulance ride to be transferred to another hospital, being in the ICU, and then having to stay in the hospital for 4 days. It was, like I said, a pretty rough experience for us. But while I was there, as I mentioned in the 10-month update, carnivore update, while we were there in the hospital, I was really disheartened and just quite honestly angry at some of the suggestions of the dietitian in terms of what we should feed Elijah. And while we were there, he was not able to maintain, just a steady blood sugar level because some of the foods, what's being offered in the hospital. While I was there, I just had like a dry burger patty and like boiled eggs. But for him, that didn't seem too appetizing. So what was offered to him was not the best, right? And really, even what was being recommended in terms of his carb count just really sent his blood sugar levels like really high up. And there was just no consistency. They warned us that we should not look into a low carb way of eating for various reasons, because they said that that's not healthy because a child needs carb, a growing child needs carbs, and yada, yada, yada. And, feed him whatever he wants and just cover it with insulin. And at one point, I got really upset at the dietitian because when she said, oh, if you want to take him to McDonald's, take him to McDonald's, whatever he wants to eat, cake, whatever, just let him eat it. But when she said that, I just, in a nice way, but in a very stern way, just say to her, listen, what you are recommending is not good for anyone. Not now. I'm doing a video. Hold on. All right, we have a visitor that came in for the video. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Hello. I'm talking to them about Elijah's recent diagnosis. What was
It's diabetes.
It is type 1 diabetes. So I'm talking to them about it, and I'm just going to go into like what we should really be eating, right? What's the correct things that we should be eating. All right? So can I finish the video? Okay, do you want to tell everyone bye? All right. See you later.
It's cold.
All right, go on out. Let me finish. Okay, babe, go. Okay, all right. My little visitor left. But in any case, I just told her, I was like, what you're recommending is not good for anyone, whether or not we have insulin to cover it or not. So needless to say, I mean, she realized that I was not on the same page with her, and I just kept on thinking, I need to just get home. And even when we first got home, he ended up having some things that he didn't need to eat at all. And the first few days, we were really struggling to bring his like blood pressure into normal range. I'm talking about, easily up into 300. Sometimes it was, close to 400. Then we would be back to 200. And quite honestly, if we ended up in, the upper 190s, we were like, oh my goodness, at least it's coming down. And that's far from being normal, right? But so the first day or two, that was a little bit difficult to just see. And because he wasn't eating low carb meals at all, there were some things here, some treats that were in the house. And I was really struggling because, I saw where he was emotionally and whatever. But anyway, after about the third day or so, we got our head in the game and implemented what we knew was the best option for him, despite what the doctors were saying, and just really started to go like hardcore with a low carb option. And it's been amazing to see how we are now like seeing more stability in his levels. Like, most of the time he's hanging around in the 80s and 90s, and sometimes we do get to the hundreds, and we're still trying to figure it out because we have to make some changes in the insulin. But it's just been amazing to me, and I just wanted to get on to share this only because I feel like many parents who are in my position, they're almost presented with these this information that really is not beneficial for the children. And I want to be careful in what I'm saying because I realize that not all doctors or dietitians are out to be mean or to harm people by advising them to eat the wrong things. Sometimes it's really, this is what I've been taught and this is what I know, and I don't know better, right? And unfortunately, we assume that because somebody have multiple degrees that automatically makes whatever they're saying right. Learning that there is such a thing as critical thinking and just doing research on your own and not just saying, oh, because they told me, I'll just go along with this. Because again, I'm just really realizing, even from my own experiences, that unfortunately we sometimes get misinformation from doctors. I'll just leave it like that. And I don't want to put everybody in the same bag. And as a matter of fact, in terms of personality, the doctor that we were working with, she was wonderful. I just think that the information she was giving us and the dietitian, I didn't find it too wonderful. So I can't bash people's character, right? So I have to be mindful in what I'm saying. But at the same time, I have to just realize I don't agree with what you're saying. So I just want to encourage parents out there, because there are long-term consequences to giving children high carb diets, especially those that are diabetic and having, constant highs with their blood sugars. And that's one of the things that I found very interesting, that they never went over while we were there, to say, hey, some of the complications that come from diabetes, it's as a result of, people having these high levels. So if you are a parent, like I said, that's in my position, and you yourself have just received this news and you really don't know what to do, and you're feeling like just so overwhelmed with administering the insulin as your doctor has prescribed, but you're not seeing any changes, I just want to share with you that I've come across a lot of great resources, because while I know some things, there's a lot that I don't know. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even know the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Just quite honestly, there was just so much that I did not know. I just know that I was doing like a no carb lifestyle. And for my family, I was feeding them 85% of the time a low carb, menu. And of course, just doing that because of my own research, not necessarily because of type 1 diabetes, but now that my son has entered into this world and into this space, it's making me even more passionate, and quite honestly, going from 85% now to saying, hey, we got to take this to another level and become even more strict in adhering to just following a low carb lifestyle, because for Elijah, this is going to make a difference. And just ultimately, it's not just for him, it's for all of us. It's going to be beneficial, right, for everyone in the household. So this is going to be quite a process, because like I said, even though they're used to eating low carb meals, there were times where they had treats. There were times where they made, they drank sugary drinks and, had grains or whatever. It wasn't an everyday thing, but now I'm like, look, I'm ready to just cut this off all the way. And it's extreme, but just talking to my husband, and Lord knows, I don't think that I would be able to do this if he wasn't on board. And he is not a carnivore, and he is not a low carber at all. He eats what I cook, but he has, just listening to the research, and I appreciate that, and just listening to some of the things that I've presented to him, he's on board now. And it's not to say that it's going to be easy. And we just even talk to our children about it, just trying to encourage them to realize, hey, this is for the greater good here in terms of what we're trying to do. So anyway, some resources for you that has been super beneficial for me. Number one, hands down, is Dr. Richard Bernstein. He has a YouTube channel, and he also has a book. I actually purchased it off of Amazon, and that book has proven to be so valuable. As a matter of fact, I'm not even done reading it yet, but it's been so good. So just a quick story. Dr. Bernstein, he himself has type 1 diabetes, and I believe now he's 86, and he has just been just a pioneer in terms of like leading the low carb movement with diabetics. And it's just amazing to hear his stories and to see how well he's doing. And I believe he's even still practicing medicine right now. The other one is a Facebook group called Type 1 Grit, and most of it is based on the works of Dr. Richard Bernstein. And it's just different testimonials, different articles, updated research on just the low carb diet, and just other information for those that have type 1 diabetes. And it's just been such a great source. And through that Facebook page, I was able to come across another Facebook page, and the name of that one is Let Me Be 83, and it's pretty much just a mom who chronicles like just her son's experience. He has type 1 as well, and she shares different recipes, and it's just nice to receive encouragement. And it's not somebody who, seems stuffy at all. Her information has been great just from a practical standpoint. And, again, sharing different recipes and different treats, because the reality is my son is 10 and he's still going to want a treat. And I'm not going to be hardcore and say, you can't have any treat, but just, having different recipes to fall back on when I want to bake him a low carb cookie. And I'm okay with that, right? So you can go ahead and check her out. It's Let Me Be 83. And the nice thing about both these Facebook pages is that you don't need to necessarily be on Facebook, because I don't have a Facebook account, but I still had these pages are available to the public. So that's been kind of nice that I can still scroll through and get all of this information. So in any case, in summary, I just encourage you to check out Dr. Richard Bernstein, check out Dr. RD Dikeman, just different videos. If you just do a Google search or a YouTube search, you'll see many videos where he gives a lot of great information based on what he's learned from Dr. Bernstein. And then Let Me Be 83. She has a Facebook page as well as a blog, but I've mainly gone to the Facebook page. So in any case, this video has gone really long. So I'm going to end. I hope that this was a blessing to you. And if you know of any parent that has a child or anyone that has type 1 diabetes and they're struggling to gain control, and they're just kind of looking for different options, please pass on the recommendations of those that's in the description box. It really is just valuable information. All right, with all that said, you be blessed.